And go. And
All right.
we're live.
Cool. We can still edit if we can't kick it off real quick, right?
Oh yeah,
All
definitely.
right.
We can definitely do that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is me and Martin's first attempt at a podcast. Thank you for even considering listening. We're going to see what we can do here. I think we both have a unique... Oh, shit! Explosions! We're fucking with the soundboard. Nice. But me and I am a farmer. I used to be a cook. I've worked in the seafood industry. I've done a tiny bit of commercial fishing. I've always worked with food. I've always worked with my hands. I've always been what I'd like to call an artisan. And Martin, what a do, Cuddy?
Me. Hello. I am an artist, a visual artist predominantly. I also dabble a little in film, photography, and graphic design. I've worked in the service industry for over 12 years now, and I've dealt with a lot of shitty people. And a lot of cool people, too. Not everybody out there is shitty, but there's a lot of shitty people in between the ones that are really cool.
Hey, Xander, if you ever hear this, we both still hate you so much. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Zan the puss.
Zan the puss. Oh. That could be a wonderful topic one day. I could rant about Xanthopus for a good hour.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, sorry.
It's a new year, everybody. How you doing? How you living? You still holding on to those resolutions? You moving forward? You give up yet? Who cares? Because today is the same as it was yesterday and the same as it will be tomorrow. It's a new day. Every day. Every day is a chance to start anew. Remember that.
And, the new year is only relevant to, this country and, a couple of, most other European countries. But, the Jewish calendar, it doesn't matter. If you're in Israel, it's called Sylvester. New Year's Eve is called Sylvester. It's not the New Year. The New Year's in... Well, I should know this. But I don't. It's Rosh Hashanah, which is, I don't know, it's in the fall-ish, summer kind of thing. The Chinese calendar is different.
Yeah, I was going to say, we all know the Chinese have their own goddamn New
Yeah,
Year.
exactly. The I don't know if you'd say Islamic or Muslim. The Islamic or Muslim calendar is different as well. So what the fuck? Why does that? Why does
the
it
New
matter?
Year is in only relation to the Gregorian calendar, which not everybody follows.
Yeah. So I guess it's important to us, but in the global aspect, what the fuck?
I don't think anybody living on the moon gives a shit about our calendar. They don't give a fuck. And if you're going to move to Mars, they're not going to give a shit about our calendar either. Because their years are going to be completely different. Please, everybody who sucks, just go to Mars.
Wait, but I would go to Mars. I would do it if I'm a farmer. I know how to produce food. I can cook food. I'm not in good shape, but I can get there. I could be a good candidate for Mars. And I saw that shit you posted on Facebook the other day about Mars, it was about Mars. It's about what a lot of people think is going to happen in 2030, 2040.
Yeah. That I was taking that.
Mars was in every single one of them. It's the first colony, the second colony, third colony. I'd be that first colony.
But the whole thing is I feel like that's not that's not how it's gonna happen. We're not just gonna build domes because it's what the fuck are we building into? We're gonna have to go and just send robot digging bots things to go. We have to terraform Mars before we could put a dome. I don't think we could put a dome into Martian soil. I don't think that's a thing. I don't think our structural integrity of our buildings, as we understand them now, would be relative on Mars. I think the gravity's different.
We could get there. We could build buildings that survive there in a habitat that's similar to Earth. We can go to the bottom of the ocean and we could send a fucking people and dome thingies and all the infrastructure behind colonists to Mars. They'd survive. I think it's shitty that we're thinking about going to Mars instead of fixing Earth or working.
I agree.
I feel like that's what's behind your idea, but like
That too, but also let me see some shit on the moon. Let me see some proof of concept closer to home. Figure that shit before you go to Mars. Don't go to Mars and be like, oh yeah, like shit don't work. Like,
well, maybe it's a scary idea that we're not doing that because we don't have time or resources or money. It's like people who are trying to like ensure the continuity of the human genome are like, well, we don't got time to fuck with the moon. We got plan A and plan B.
but we're gonna have to have like a communications array on the moon because it's slightly further out and it's got a different rotation. And I feel like that would be, although we have satellites, that would be a good position between us and Mars. At certain points, it would be closer than some of our actual satellites are because it's outside of that particular gravitational force.
And it doesn't have the atmosphere to fuck with all the
exactly
interference or everything. Yeah.
So we could have a communications array on the moon. Let's see that first. Let's see a way to talk to Mars.
What if it's that bad that they know that we don't got time?
What do you mean time? We're not in a rush. We don't need to, like, there is so much Earth that we still have to fuck up. Like, I feel like people don't really understand.
You're right. In the context of, like, the human genome continuity, like me and you, our awesome Santa Barbara existence will get fucking deleted. But,
like, humans cover, like, 20% of the globe.
Yeah, but
there's still
we impacted so much, so, like, you can't move up. Like, if it goes to 25, it's like the Earth's just like, fuck you. What is it called? Ice Age. Fuck your shit. Get out of here.
Well, to slow down the clock, we should just have global regulation of population. That's where we're going to get to eventually because there's a capacity of the planet. Just like a club, the club gets to capacity. You can't have more people in the club. You can't just have people in the club fucking and making babies and just be like, yeah, we don't have room for all that shit, man. We're at fucking capacity. And we're going to hit that point at some time, and somebody has got to do the math. How many resources can we have to support X amount of people? And what is the cap of this planet? Figure out the goddamn cap, and we need to not get there faster. Like, we need to hit the brakes. Like, we can't just keep speeding towards that cap not knowing where the cap is. The cap could be like 20 people away, and we just passed it now because 20 people just were born.
Yeah. I'm super glad you brought that idea up because I feel like that's something me and you talk about a lot, is the humanity, we lie to ourselves. We're not honest about the actual problems. Like, we're too, like, the biggest voices and the most heard voices in the mainstream of humanity is like, we need to make it work for everybody, and there's room for everybody, and we'll find the problems, and there is no cap. And it's like, no, that's not the case. Like, we're at maximum capacity, or we're getting there. We can't be soft. We can't be sensitive. We just have to be realistic and logical and be honest with ourselves as a society, as a species. Like, we can't keep doing what we're doing. We have to be honest, and the most heard discussions usually are just about nothing. Like, okay, I'm going to work in this coal thing because it applies. And I was listening to Dave Chappelle talk about his opinion on Donald Trump's approach to coal. And he was, basically the point he made was like, I've never seen coal. What the fuck is coal? Why are we talking about coal?
What the fuck's coal?
So why are we even talking about it? That's not it's like, we should be talking about renewable resources and how to create jobs in that aspect. But we're just talking about coal.
And oil. And these limited resources that, once again, have a motherfucking cap. And we're creating our own infrastructure based on these limited resources. Like the roads, the fucking power plants. So many industries that are sustained by the oil industry, the plastic, the petroleum products.
We all know this shit. We've all seen these fucking documentaries. We've seen Zeitgeist. We've seen Collapse. Like, why aren't we having an honest discussion and, like, actually implementing things that will make a difference? Or why do me and Martin feel so obliged to create a podcast because we think that more people should hear this, more people should actually talk about it, and talk about these things when we meet at the grocery store, and talk about these things when we're having any conversation, not just like in hushed voices, like, oh, I know I'm a little crazy, but like, I think there's too many people in the world and I think we should regulate the population. It's like, no, fuck, that's super important. That is a valid point and we need to talk about that. But if you talk about it, you're
crazy. You're looked on as a nut job. You're like, oh my god, this guy's insane. He doesn't know what's going on. He's crazy. Why would we trust anything he says? Because half of what he says is scary. We don't want to believe it. People are telling us it's not true, so why would we listen?
God. All right. We're passionate people. We can go off. But we really trying to do this podcast the best we can, so we wrote some notes. I hate to do it, but I just want to talk about the weed thing.
Okay, no, let's get into the weed thing.
That's the first topic, but
it's bullshit. We just got weed legal in California, and then Donald Trump goes and be like, yeah, but the federal government now gives a shit again. And it's like, what the fuck, man?
I don't think it's Donald. It's Sessions. I don't think Trump gives a fuck. I don't think he even has the capacity.
Trump's administration was...
Yeah, all right, exactly. And one of these days we're going to have a real good topic about the fact that Trump, like, the whole thing, and the man behind the curtain are winning the more we talk about him. But anyways...
I think it's just a huge conspiracy, so people don't have a word to use when they say that something is better than another thing. That's all it was.
What do you mean? Like, that sounds... Yeah, I get it, but like...
Trump, it means something is better than something else. But now anytime somebody says, oh, that trumps that, you're like, oh, you just think about Trump. You're just like, oh, it's shitty. He flipped the whole meaning of an entire fucking word, and I think that was their whole agenda. They're like, nobody really gives a shit about Trump. When they think Trump, they kind of think about his shows or whatever, but they understand it's a word. If you ask most people, if you say Trump, all they think about is this terrible-haired, bad-postured, poor water-drinking asshole. I don't know if you've ever seen the video of Donald Trump drinking water.
Policies don't matter. Nothing matters. It's just like, we fucking just hate this guy, and all we're focused on is, like, hating. He just drink water. I read something, though, where that can be, like, an indicator of, like, dementia beginning. Or, like motor skills failing. Like, his, like, mental capacity is starting to fail. Like, if you can't grab a drink and just drink it, there's something... kind of,
like, pause. And
he's like, okay, all right, I got this. But, I'll get it off my chest. On the Trump topic, like, not everyone, but a lot of people, anyone who we know who is going to listen to this, I think has an idea that there is a different set of powers out there that isn't the government. Like, there is other people in control, corporations, if you want, or the Rockefellers, or whatever. I don't know.
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati. It doesn't matter.
These, whoever they are, that just indefinite they.
Yeah, and it's not like, I don't believe they're all collaborating or there is one person in charge of doing everything, but it's people's intentions that are leading to that. There are like beyond wealthy, like people who are in control.
There's people who own countries.
Shit. Yeah, and
they're on a whole other level of existence.
We're all scared of, like, RDIF chips and getting chipped and getting a number, and everyone's on a number, and, like, the one world government and, like, total control, and the government knows everything, and Big Brother, and fucking, I got 1984 on my desk right there. Everyone should read that right now. Everyone's scared of that world existing. We already live in it. It already happened. Camera down! On the good point. But we already live in that world. The NSA admitted, or whatever, it didn't admit, but we know that the NSA records every conversation and has access to every conversation we have. We all have a credit card number. We're all in debt. The fucking president is a what do you even call it? He's a
dipshit?
Movie star. He is, in Idiocracy. I don't know the guy's name.
President Camacho?
He is President Camacho. He left the fucking Apprentice, which is a reality TV show, which everyone knows is bullshit, to become the president. It already happened. The takeover, we're already there.
We're already there, ladies and gentlemen. We're already motherfucking there.
So
So where do we go from here?
I don't
We're
know.
already there. How do we don't move backwards. We're not trying to get to where we were before. We need to get to a new place now. We've got to get somewhere different. We've got to change direction.
We can too. Humanity has the capacity for that. I mean, we need to regulate population because the Earth just can't sustain it. But, like, I'm both planning on moving to Hawaii right now. I'm not going to say where, but it's a place that's so sustainable that there's so much resources that it's hardly regulated. So that's where I'm looking at living because I'm interested in the continuity of my genes as well. But at the same time, like, I'm ready to fight the good fight and, like, make this place, at least America, at least Santa Barbara, California, a place to live. But I kind of like smoking weed.
Yeah. Yep. Smoking weed's pretty cool.
So what's up? All right, you wanted to talk about this illegality of federal, on the federal level. Let's get back to that. Are you cool with that?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
All right, good. So what's happened?
I feel like that's the gist of it. That's the span of the thing is the title in which it is the re-legalization federally. So that means essentially the FBI can now begin to crack down, as well as federal marshals and other federal government agencies of authority can now move into places where it was legal for that state to sell, distribute, for people to smoke recreationally as of January 1st in California. So now even though in this state it's legal to smoke weed, I could be somewhere smoking a joint, not in Santa Barbara, because you can't smoke anything outside, also as of January 1st, which I think was a coordinated attempt to make it so there wasn't people walking around in the streets smoking blunts and doobies.
I'm okay with that. I'm not going to lie.
I'm not okay with it, but I still would have liked to legally once. Like just once.
I mean, you can until you get caught. Just be smart.
But I mean, I've illegally smoked a shit ton, but it would have been cool to legally be able to walk up, see a cop, and not trip. Just be like, this is not illegal. This is like smoking a cigarette. But I didn't get to have that. I didn't get to have that one day of just be like...
Well, 420.
It's still not actually legal. Like, they denied us the one day in Santa Barbara. Like, now we could go anywhere else in California, but not in Santa Barbara. I will never have, unless someone flips that whole thing, which probably will not happen, I will never have my one day of legally smoking marijuana in Santa Barbara.
Well, why do you...
just once. I just want to, just to be able to have that same arrogance as someone walking down the street smoking a cigarette. You know what I mean? Like, I want to just be able to, like, this is my thing, that's your thing, cool. You know, and just not trip. Just once. I don't want to do it a lot. I just want to do it once. Take a nice leisurely walk and just not have to fucking look over my shoulder. Just be able to just really enjoy that joint and not feel like a motherfucking criminal.
I mean...
Secondhand smoke from tobacco is... I'm making up statistics here. 1,000 times worse than secondhand smoke from weed. Yes. Look it up.
It's Googleable. Get your Googlers out. That might be a cultural thing, Martine. And as a white dude, I worry less about police enforcement. I've never been pulled over for being black.
That would be weird. Do you know why I'm pulling you over, sir?
And I know.
You were black in a residential area. Excuse me, sir? You were black. So, check the last name.
But you've told me you've experienced that.
Yeah,
before.
no, on a few occasions.
Yeah, so like I don't have that. I get when I'm driving, I like when I see the police, I like shudder and I get like a panic attack, and or when I see them in the street, but I've been smoking weed and like walking, to the grocery store here, just here, because I can't smoke here because we're at Favorite Gardens. So I'll do it when I'm walking to the grocery store. I'll get it done away from here. And I've seen cops walk by. I mean, I've been like past them, like, within a few feet, but on the other side of the street, or like bike cops or police, and like I'm clearly smoking a joint and not giving a fuck because like what's the like I think okay, you're gonna grant me a ticket and I have to pay $200 for your goddamn weed ticket, like worth it? Not worth it, not at all. But like, you're really gonna do that? I doubt it. I'll take my chances. And like, from a person who's paranoid about authority, especially police authority, I'm willing to take my chances with marijuana. You're still not.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily everywhere. Like, I've walked around in the Bay Area, and I don't have that same anxiety as I do walking around here. Like, I was walking back from a concert once, and me and my buddy were, like, drinking, like, a bottle of Hennessy and smoking a blunt, walking, and we see the police, we fucking give them a wave, and they're like, oh, you're not doing anything crazy. You're not beating anybody up. We don't give a fucking shit. We got other things to do. Like, and that's the kind of, like, that's that, like, air of, like, yeah, just like I was smoking a cigarette or doing whatever the fuck. Like, they're just like, we have our jobs to do. Like, we don't need to sit and harass you. But in Santa Barbara, they mostly have shit all to do. So it's like, oh, black person, he's doing something. Oh, he's smoking. Oh, I'm going to stop. Like, he's 50-50. He's either smoking a cigarette or he's smoking weed. But, oh, smells like weed. Bring him in. Like, we got him.
That's so... We all think we're so progressive in California, but that's still happening here.
But it's mostly...
You're not even you're black as fuck. But like, you don't...
I don't dress like a hoodlum?
You made... No, not even that. Like, you are clearly an artist. Like, you wear pants that have fucking paint on them. You made your own goddamn shirt. You're wearing a jacket that you probably had when you were in 10th grade. Like, you're clearly like a creative person just by looking at you. Like, I've been pulled over for being...
I feel like that's almost works against me. If I was just like in a polo, a button up, and some khakis, just walking with my boat shoes, I feel like I would get harassed less.
Oh god, yeah. Actually, probably like you. It's not that you stick out, but yeah, like maybe it's that bad. Like I don't know. Maybe it's that bad that like the fact that you're just noticeable and black at the same time. It's terrible.
2 counts of we see you, like.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But
you just blipped on our radar twice. We gotta stop you. Like.
I've experienced being pulled over for being sketchy once, and the irony of it is I was like driving. I was in Palos Verdes where I grew up, driving to meet my mom at a yoga class, like just white as fuck. But I was wearing a tank top. I had recently buzzed my head because I usually buzz it. And I was wearing a tank top, and I was driving like a beat ass truck that the registration. It's not beat, whatever. It's nice. But the registration was old. I don't get whatever. Long story. It was old, and I got pulled over for old registration. But the cop turned around just because of how I looked, and pulled me over like in a public place. I was reaching for my wallet even before she was at the window, and she starts like, "Get your hands out of your pocket!" and fucking had her hand. She didn't pull her gun out, but she had her hand in her pocket, a pen on her gun, and I fucking freaked out. And like she made me keep my hand on the wheels the whole time. She had her hand on her gun the whole time. Was like yelling at me for like all my information. And I was like, dude, this sucks. Like people have to deal with this on like a regular basis, and this is terrible. Like I hate this woman. I hate my life right now because this bitch just needs she needs to get slapped right now for how she's treating me. But she's an authority and she has a gun. And my entire existence is in her hands. And she just prejudged me on who I am. just based on prejudice. She's approaching me from a prejudiced point of view, armed and with authority.
Coming at you hot.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, recently, like, last year, I got pulled over twice in the same 24-hour period. I was leaving Lompoc, coming through Buellton, and I had just gotten gas. And my cousin and Tack were in the back of the car. So it's 3 black people in one car.
And Tack will fuck shit up.
But I got pulled over because the light that... the light over my license plate was out.
What the fuck?
Which I don't think is actually even illegal.
I don't think my cars, either one of them has one of those.
So I got pulled over for that.
It sure as fuck doesn't work if it does. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
And I got I couldn't find my proof of insurance, but I have insurance. But I ended up getting a ticket that I have to deal with now because, like, I got pulled over for this light. So then the other side of Santa Barbara County, we're leaving San Ynez, and I was the DD. So I was like, cool. Like, I'm driving. My cousins had a couple drinks. They're attacking my cousin had a drink.
Being a responsible human being.
Yeah, being a responsible human being, leaving San Ynez, and my cousin was in the back smoking a cigarette. I think that was the main reason why we got pulled over. But we got pulled over again, but that time I was fucking on it. I was like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I haven't been drinking. I know I wasn't speeding. Like, what the fuck you got? Come at me. Like, what are you going to do, cop? So he rolls up to my window, and I was like, what seems to be the problem, officer? How can I help you?
Wow. You would do that,
and it caught him off guard.
Good.
He's just like, and he, like, made up some random shit.
Wow, dude. Then you know he wasn't approaching you as a citizen. He was approaching you as like a criminal. Yeah.
But I think as soon as he walked up and he didn't smell weed, he was just like, fuck. And then I came at him like that, and he was like, fuck again. He's like, God damn it.
I'm probably being filmed right now.
Yeah.
Shit.
So then he's just like, something, blah, blah, like.
What did you get pulled over for?
I forget what the fuck he said. Like, It was some shit. He's like, I thought you were speeding or some shit, you know what I mean? Like,
I thought you were speeding.
Like, yeah, he came out with kids. He didn't give me a ticket. He just was like, okay, sorry to, like, interrupt, like, you know, your evening or whatever. Like, you're free to go.
Well, I mean, you were in San Ynez. San Ynez is crazy. It's like, you'll meet all sorts of super liberal pot farmers, but you'll also meet people with Confederate flags on their truck. It's insane. And you're 20 minutes from Santa Barbara?
Wait, I said San Ynez? I meant Ojai.
Well, I don't know. It's the same idea.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, as soon as you get away from a metropolitan area, or as soon as you get away from the
it is like the same thing.
Yeah, it's a rural community that is like farm based. It's a lot of white people. You know, they don't got the Jews. Well, actually, it's ironic because I went to Jewish day or summer camp in Ojai. So I guess they got the Jews there. But
at least I got them visiting.
Yeah. They got their property tax money rolling in because that was a huge camp. And I'm sure that was expensive as fuck to send me to. I hated it. But I still like to smoke weed.
Yeah, no, yeah. And the Trump administration is trying to make that harder. For whatever goddamn reason.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's honestly just, they're just rattling, they're just like, pay attention to the government real quick. Like,
no!
we are like, don't pay attention to what's happening. Like, we're gonna, it's the same thing as like the coal. It's like, we're not talking about anything that's important. We're just talking. It's like, no, we're not gonna fuck with the revenue that's gonna be generated from the marijuana industry. We're just gonna like,
we're gonna
distract you talking about it, and then we're gonna go fucking do some. I don't like.
No, but
I wish I had more like of what.
Now the federal government can go in to places like Colorado, where they're forced to create these storage facilities for their banking, like the income from the marijuana industry. Now the federal government can go in and confiscate all of that money. Anywhere that they store money for marijuana industry now.
And they can't put it in banks, so it's a lot of it in cash.
So there's a lot of it in cash. So the federal government can just go swoop in and literally rob people of their livelihoods
My
legally.
hopeful nature would like to think that the federal government or the FBI and the DEA is going to be like, yo, fuck yourself. Like, we don't have time for these weed people. Like, we just need it to be legal. However,
You would hope that.
I've seen some on social media, like, the DEA, like, giving the finger to Trump. Like, we're not going to do that shit. It's like, they don't exist unless they persecute. Which is, think about that for a second. They do not exist unless they persecute. If there isn't crime, they will find crime. If there isn't crime, they will create crime. But anyways.
They're like fucking dentists for society.
Exactly.
Dentists are... Sorry if you're a dentist out there, but your entire industry is based on us fucking up. If we don't brush our teeth and you're like, oh no, you got a cavity now, we got to go and do all this work, like blah, blah, come in. You can't brush your teeth right, so we got to clean your mouth for you. This and that. It's like the goddamn federal government getting all up in our business. People should just brush their goddamn teeth, and if they fall out, fuck you.
Alright, on the down low, but not really because we're doing a podcast. When was the last time you went to a dentist?
4 years ago?
4 years?
3 years ago? Something like
The
that?
last time I went to a dentist, it was February, and I was 15. I turned 30 in January, which in like 5, 10, 7 days. I haven't been to a dentist in 15 years. But pretty much every one of my teeth is filled because a fucking rip-off dentist filled all of my goddamn teeth even before when I was like 12. Like, not even 12. Like a toddler. Like, did some shit and, like, extorted my mom for money because...
Yeah, dude, seriously! That's what they goddamn
It's funny you
do!
brought up dentist because he pulled some shit that, like, all of my teeth are already filled. So even if I get a cavity, it's just, like, just scrub the fuck out of it, and then it's like, it's not going to rot anymore because there's nothing inside of that tooth.
Right, yeah.
But, dentist, goddamn.
Fucking dentists, man. At least orthodontists have the wherewithal to be like, yeah, we're like plastic surgeons for your mouth. It's clear. It's just 100% aesthetic. It's not about you eating better or nothing. Like, you want straight teeth, come to us. Otherwise, go fuck yourself.
Why? I question humanity as a species based on its dental records. Like, why do we have fucked up teeth? Like, why do people have overbites and underbites and, like, need brace? Like, do we really need... That's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't been to a dentist since 15. I don't suggest that to anybody. But I have good fucking teeth. I brush my teeth in the morning. I floss once a week, maybe. I don't have what dentists would call good dental hygiene. But... they don't hurt. I don't have any problems. They fucking are strong as balls. Like, I eat a lot of ribs and chew on bones. I eat a pretty varied, like, I eat tougher than a lot of other people because I've been a cook and I really enjoy food. And I've never had any dental problems. My wisdom teeth grew in just fine. Didn't have to get them removed. But why the fuck? What's wrong with our species that our teeth are fucked up? Are they really fucked up? Is there an advantage to have, like, gangly teeth that you need braces for that we think just because they're ugly?
Yeah, there's something wrong with it. I totally disagree. I like my teeth. My teeth are fucked up. Like, I got, like, hair, and it's like that. And it's just got a funky little thing. And some people are like, oh, like, there's something wrong with your mouth. And it's like, no, there's something wrong with fucking society. My teeth are goddamn fine. They sit in my mouth. Fuck you. And we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back. So in conclusion, keep dentists out of government.
Keep anything that is health related or personal related out of government, because it's our right and our responsibility to take care of ourselves, not the government. Because anytime the government puts their hands in anything anything that involves us, namely like education, they just seem to fuck shit up. But I do really like Obamacare. That was, like, really cool that I could afford healthcare when I needed it. Super hypocritical. I know, but there's gotta be something that works in between some form of government and some sort of regulation that works.
balance of socialist and capitalist shenanigans,
Yeah.
where we can have the wealthy, but being poor doesn't suck so much.
Well, not even being poor. Like, we've lost artisans.
This is very
Like,
true.
artists used to be a valued part of culture, and the government employed them. Like, the people's tax dollars employed artists to beautify and to think about their community.
And find ways to better it and find creative solutions.
Yeah.
But we've still have aspects of this, but we've definitely departed from the level of intimacy that society has with artists.
And artisans.
Yes.
Well, no, I know. Like, you're an artist. I'm a food producer, and like both of our ability to do what we want to do and make a honest, reasonable living doing it, we're highly restricted and almost like it's not possible.
Like the death of the cobbler.
Exactly.
The cobbler, there used to be a cobbler in Santa Barbara, in Paseo Nuevo. And I remember when I was younger, I went into the cobbler's shop and I asked him if I could be his apprentice. And he said it doesn't work like that anymore. Like, you can't just, the insurance doesn't have it, so they can't have...
Christ.
Like, I was like, I just want to come in here and I just want to learn to make shoes, dude. Like, you don't need to pay me nothing. He's like, I can't, like, my hands are tied. Like, I can't have an unpaid worker in here. Like, my insurance doesn't cover it. If you get hurt, like, that would be the end of me. Little did he know his end came shortly after. So he should have just let me be his apprentice anyways. Because then at least now I know how to make shoes. Because he's out of business, and now it's a cell phone store.
Jesus. Like, no, you can't be an apprentice, and you can't learn a skill, but you can go to a 4-year university and get hundreds of $1,000s in debt for basically no good reason.
Yeah.
But you can't, like, our system is just, it doesn't fucking function. Like, on an artisanal level, which is the middle class, which is the backbone of society. Any society, like, any functioning society. Like, you look at any culture, any government, any nation, and as soon as the middle class becomes diminished, you have problems.
Problems that just implementing social programs doesn't necessarily fix. It stops some of the hemorrhaging, but unless we really revamp the system itself, it's only just going to help to perpetuate people living essentially with a crutch, a societal crutch, that they can never grow out of. People get stuck on welfare. People get stuck on social services. They never have the opportunities to be able to move past the social place where they currently are. And some people may say they're lazy. They're not motivated. They're not trying to get out of where they're from. But that's not always the case. It's rarely the case. And even if that is the case, why is that the case? Why are these people comfortable like that? Is it them personally, or is it because they're being constantly put down by society? They're being told that because they're on these social services, it makes them a bad person. Because they're getting help from somebody else, it means that they're worth less as a human being. And that is a terrible way of looking at things. People should not be degraded because they need help.
No. I picture those people are capable of providing a service that is just too highly regulated, or there's too much red tape, or our system doesn't provide an environment for them to flourish. It doesn't provide an environment for a lot of people to flourish. It provides an environment for people to be a part of the system. Like, you go to school, you sit at a desk, you get lectured at. You go to college, you sit at a desk, you get lectured at, you're given a set of rules, You're given responsibilities, and then you're given like tasks, and then you get a job, and you sit at a desk, and you're given responsibilities, and you're given tasks.
And it's a self-perpetuating cycle of not really living, but existing. You're there to do a function, not to live, You're only living in order to provide a function that's continuously just doing the same thing.
And like our society, our modern society needs people like that. But it seems like those are the only fucking people that can like afford their children's education. And like afford a place to live and afford like to make a living, you know, and not just like, yeah, they do well. And like if you don't fall into that system, like everyone else who works in the service industry, who's a fisherman, who's a farmer, who's a producer of food or art or culture or, yeah, then first of all, everyone tells you not to go into that industry, who's in that industry, because they know how fucked up and hard it is. And you'll never, like, things will always struggle, but you can just play by the rules 8 hours a day and just sell your soul for 8 hours a day, and you'll make 6 figures, and you'll be chilling.
Yeah, this is very true. Like, if you just want to buy into the system that we currently have and go through the 4 years of college or the 8 years of college, just sit at that desk and sign papers, or go and just prescribe people drugs, whatever.
Gee, well, yeah, that's a whole other bag of worms, the whole prescription drug situation.
Yeah, because the drug companies should not be going to hospitals pitching drugs. The hospital should be like, okay, I need this thing. Who makes this thing the best? Not who's trying to give me the most, so I use their thing.
Yeah. And like, kind of, like, everybody wake the fuck up. Like, every philosopher, contemporary philosopher who was alive, like, you know, in the 1900s, not everyone, but a lot of them were saying, like, Aldous Huxley, for one, like, you can't have a society with, like contemporary society is going to need, like, a lot of medication. Like, the future governments, the future systems of control are going to use pharmacopoeia as a way of control. Because, god damn it, OxyContin's legit. I mean, you know, hypothetically. But that's such a great system of control. And we know how fucked up that system is. And we know that the people who are producing and selling those drugs are just drug dealers.
Just legal drug dealers.
Just legal drug dealers. You know, like we've all seen things online of, like, you know, the irony of, like, you know, someone who sells, like, you know, 500,000 pounds of super addictive, destructive OxyContin has a yacht, and the person who sells 10 grams of, like, weed is, like, in jail for 10 years. Like,
yeah,
we know it's fucking stupid. We know that OxyContin and all these painkillers and the whole pharmaceutical, not the whole thing, because a lot of it's really important, but a portion of the pharmaceutical company that we hear about is just sanctioned, government supported, like, drugs, and it's keeping us down and keeping us sedated, because and just look back 50 years, people who were of a higher mind were saying, like, this is going to be the new way to keep us down, because humans are evolving. We're getting smarter. We're going to question our surroundings. We're going to adapt and survive. But we can't. That doesn't jive with the systems of control we have now. The people who are making money now. That doesn't work for them. So they need to negate that. They need to medicate us. But you can't just force it on people. The best way to do it is to make them ask for it. And god damn it, I'd ask for another OxyContin. So, like that.
It's like a brave new world.
Yeah, exactly. Like if someone said you can work in this factory 4 hours a day, or you can work in this factory 8 hours a day, but it's gonna feel like 2, and then you can go home and your life's gonna suck, but you're not gonna really know, and like you'll never feel pain. Just take this pill. I would never, but like a part of me goes like, like my head is fucked. Like, not every night is great. I wake up in the morning not always happy. That sounds intriguing.
Yeah, but it's just...
But I'm willing to bet a lot more people say yes than
yeah, definitely. In the same sense that a lot of people say yes to a lot of shit every day that's fucking bullshit. Or that's bad for them. That's fucking not good for other people. It's mind-boggling how easy some people are to just say yes. They're like, yep, okay, yes, that's fine by
we're
me.
We're indoctrinated with that. We've been indoctrinated with that. You know, in the 60s, the government, I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but why the fuck else are we talking about this? Like, that's when they took over, like, the education system. And if you want to control people, it's pretty easy. We all know, like, you can ask any psychologist how to do
it. Controlling information is a huge part of that. And if you are responsible for all of the information that people are taking in, then you are controlling those people. Because you're controlling the narrative. People are like, what happened before? They're like, this is what happened. They're like, oh yeah? Yeah. And now this is what you're doing. Like,
or let's not talk about electronic cars and solar panels. Let's talk about coal.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just to bring it back, like
let's just meander that conversation.
Yeah, it's like let's just talk about what not what matters, but just what Like, let's just let the people bred in circuses, gladiator fights.
Yeah,
this is what matters. This is
Kanye West, Kim Kardashian's ass. Like
exactly.
Blood out. Get lit. Shit's hella lit, isn't it? Goddamn.
Anyone who doesn't admit that their scrolling of Facebook slows down when they see shit like that is a fucking liar. And that sucks. And that's how powerful that like media is. Like even someone like us, me, who doesn't give a fuck, like gets his daily dose. One, because I just don't want to be too out of the loop, and two, because like it's addictive. Fuck. Like in 20 minutes, I can know exactly what's going on in the world, but that's not really. I know what like is what is what Facebook, what some system wants me to believe or wants me to know. That's all that it is. It's not what's actually going on in the world.
Exactly. It's controlled media. It's farmed information. It's fucking regurgitated bullshit. It's so many goddamn things. But we have moved past the amount of time, and we're going to have to leave soon. But this has been our first podcast.
Martin's got to get to an open mic. We keep fucking that up.
I will be able to perform next week, not this week, but I've got some good stuff working on it coming at you. Maybe I'll tell you some jokes next time, too. Probably not. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed what we had to talk about, had to say. I'm Martin, and this is...
I'm Abel, and once again, thank all of you so much for listening. Me and Martin took a little break halfway in between. Not halfway, just, I don't know, a couple minutes ago. And we both were just like, holy shit, like, that was a lot of fun. Like, I was super nervous at the beginning of this, and like, we're going to have so much blank time, this isn't, But I really hope you guys enjoyed this, because we did too, and we have, like, I don't know, 20 things written down to talk about, and we only talked about one, which it's fucking weed, like, who the fuck really cares? But we've had, like, a lot of, like, much cooler things, and also more random things, like, we got spiders, because I think that, like, relates to... You can talk about spiders, but you can also talk about, like, human coevolution with our surroundings. But anyways.
podcast.
This was so much fun. Thank you guys so. If you're listening to this, thank you so much. And we are gonna do this again next week. I hope, because this was awesome.
Definitely, you guys are all awesome. Hope to not see you, but have you listen to me in the future, and see you in the future. No, hear you in the future.
Thank you, everybody.